welcome to PlayPianoToday.com. This is Chapter 1 from Salsa for Piano and Keyboard.
All day long, floating on the water, and all day long, floating on the sea. But it's alright with me.
Oh yeah, we're going south of the border today, into the Caribbean. I'm going to show you how to mix up some musical salsa and add it to your music to give it a wonderful Latin flavor. This is really fun stuff. We're going to have some tricks for your right hand, some tricks for your left hand. All very interesting spice to add to your toolbox. I think you're going to have a great time with this. I certainly am. You may be wondering, what's the similarities and differences between Latin music and blues music that we've been studying? Now, there are a lot of similarities, and there's lots of differences too. Let's start with some of the things that are similar. Probably the most obvious is some of the chord voicings or chord shapes that I use to play the music. Now, the rhythm is quite different, right? We'll look at that in a second. Here's a familiar chord shape from the blues. Remember this? We played it like this. All of a sudden, that chord shape is in the context of blues. Now let's use it again, but play it and go a little different direction with it for Latin music, like this. Right? We went a little different direction with our thumb there, and the underlying rhythm really was different, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the chord shape is similar. One of the things that I'm going to do for consistency's sake in this lesson as well is I'm going to use these Latin rhythms, and we're going to play them through the same chords that we used in the blues. So if you haven't studied the blues, you need to back up and look at our blues course. But if you remember from your studies there, you'll remember it was 12 bars or 12 measures of chords, right? So we're going to use those chords, but with a Latin feel. Okay, so we've looked at a similarity, and that's the chord shape. That's one of the similarities. Now let's look at one of the foundational differences between Latin music and the blues. To highlight one of the differences between blues and Latin music, let's talk about the underlying rhythm. Now, if you haven't noticed yet, when we played the blues, it has a swing feel to it, like this. Now listen to the underlying beat. It's kind of shuffling along. Kind of swings. That's what makes the blues come alive. All that shuffling really pushes the blues down the road. Now, the pulse of Latin music is very different from the blues. In fact, it has a very straight pulse. It seems like that would be less interesting, but something happens in the magic of Latin music that brings it alive and brings that special spice out. It sounds like this. Now, the pulse that's underlying what you're hearing is very straight, like a train coming down the track. You hear how straight that is, but it's very, very nice. Now, at the beginning of this lesson, I told you I was going to play these Latin rhythmic patterns over the framework of the 12-bar blues. Now, here's the pattern. Isn't that nice? I'm going to show you exactly how to play that in a few seconds. But first, let me show you how it goes over the chords of the 12-bar blues. Here we go.